Hi, it's another Monday and you're welcome to another episode of the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for joining us. The AFCON is still happening. More drama, more stories, more goals. Just like I predicted, I told you the competition would open up, and it's opened up really well. If you're excited by anything you've seen, or worried, or troubled, or concerned anything, just send us a WhatsApp message 0550-585832. I'll go through as many of the messages as possible before we head out of here in the next hour. So, I'd love to hear from Sierra Leone. Now, if you're watching us from Sierra Leone, I'd love to hear from you. I just want to know what the mood is in that country right now. If you're in Equatorial Guinea, I suspect you're probably not working. You are still high after beating Algeria by a goal to nil. If you're watching us from that country, we'd love to hear from you. If you're watching us on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182, wonderful stuff. That's all over the continent. And if you're watching us from Ghana, please send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Hashtag AFCON on Citi, hashtag Citi Sports. We'll take a snappy break. When we come back, I introduce my guest and we start rolling. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. All right, welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Once again, the gang is back together again. We'll be together on this show until the end of the AFCON. On the touch, we've got Susu Graham there today, looking really nice. Yeah, man.
Thank you. Did he also come
Do you want
in
to say hi to the people? What?
He also came in a collarless shirt.
Yes. I don't know what today is. Today is friends that I hear Esquire, Susu Graham Esquire.
Esquire or priest? Which one?
No, you don't have to decide.
I look more like a priest.
Yeah. No, you look.
He looks more like a lawyer.
You look more like a lawyer.
No, I look more like a priest.
He looks more like a priest.
Yes.
Okay.
I like priests.
Forgive me.
I'm taking my inspiration from the Chinese movies. They don't have the colors.
Mine is. Did you watch a few of them over there?
No.
You come and see. I have a good collection. Come and see.
We beg you. When we start this one, we'll not finish.
I have a good collection. I have a few classics in my team. Come and see. All right, so friend Susu Graham on the touchdown. They're crying to hello. The Paisley tie returns.
Every day you go launch new tie.
I love it.
When the ties finish, you'll be here.
You see,
I'll just stop one time.
When the ties finish, you'll be here.
No, but you see, Quentin is reminding all of us that he's a man of class. He's wealthy, that we know.
Okay.
But he's reminding us that he's a man of class. You get what I mean?
By wearing a different tie every day. That's the reminder of class.
You see, Ghana didn't win. So
let's allow him to enjoy his time.
Yes, thank you.
Friends, you look good yourself.
Thank you, as always. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm my own stylist.
All right, let's proceed, please. We don't have to get into issues. Okay, let's have a look at the results from the games played over the weekend. Okay, we had Cameroon, beating Ethiopia. Burkina Faso winning. So Burkina Faso back in the mix. Cameroon, of course, qualifying. The Vincent Aboubakar and the Kabitongo scoring there. We noticed that the other day. Let's move it on to some of the matches in the other group. Senegal 0, Guinea 0. Very interesting game it was. Malawi 2, Zimbabwe 1. All of a sudden, we could have cats among the pigeons. Let's move on to the other results. Gabon 1, Ghana 1. Dear Lord, Friday night was epic in this town. People were not happy with the score. Morocco 2, Comoros 1. The Atlas Lions getting onto 6 points there. If you move on to Group D, Nigeria 3, Sudan 1. Enjoyable game it was. Nigeria winning yet another game at the AFCON. And finally, the Pharaohs of Egypt on the board. Mo Salah scoring. And it was Cote d'Ivoire 2, Sierra Leone 2. Probably the most dramatic game of the competition. Sierra Leone getting a late leveler in that game. And perhaps the biggest result so far happened between Algeria and Equatorial Guinea. Esteban Fernandez's goal, the difference. It was Mali 1, Gambia 1, and Tunisia 4, Mauritania 0. And I think that this, in addition to that, Ethiopia was probably the easiest any team will ever play, or any team, the easiest match a team will encounter in an AFCON competition. So those are the results of the games played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll get to the Monday games a little later. Here are your group standings. Guinea and Senegal on 4, Malawi on 3, Zimbabwe on 0. So it's still very open there. Move on to the other groups. Morocco on 6, Gabon on 4, Ghana on 1. Looking pretty dangerous for the Black Stars. Comoros on 0 as we speak. If you move on to Group D, Nigeria on 6, Egypt on 3, Sudan and Guinea-Bissau both on 1. and I'm sure they will look to try and win their final game to give them a bit of a chance. Cote d'Ivoire in Group E on 4, Equatorial Guinea on 3, Sierra Leone on 2, Algeria on 1. Algeria, they are in the same predicament as the Black Stars, 2 big teams who want to qualify. Gambia and Mali top Group F, both on 4. Surprise, surprise. Who thought it would be the Gambians leading? The Tunisians are on board with 3. Mauritania are out. They have 0. All right, let's move on. Let's get into the games. And probably when we are starting, we are starting with the most, not the most dramatic, but the most surprising result of the entire competition. Equatorial Guinea stunning Algeria by 1-0. Esteban Fernandez scoring in the 70th minute and giving the Equatorians the lead there. Guys, I'm sure nobody saw this coming. Did anybody see it coming? Fent or Daniel? Anybody? Nobody.
I didn't.
Obviously not.
I didn't.
What was the scoreline? When you woke up on the morning of the game or at kickoff, what did you think the scoreline would be?
1-0 Algeria.
1-0 Algeria. Fent, same.
No, probably like 4-0.
4-0 Algeria.
Maybe. Mostly because I thought Algeria would have been very hurt by their performance against Sierra Leone. And they would have come into this game looking to make amends, to remind everybody why they are African champions. Also because coming into this game, they would have wanted very badly to match Italy's record of 37 unbeaten run. And all of those factors put together, created the perfect atmosphere, the perfect conditions for Algeria to really thrive. So, coming into this game, they had hunger and anger. They had motivation to match a record, and they had. They also had inspiration, really, coming into this game. So they had everything, and they had quality coming into this game. They had, they had everything. They really had everything to punish Equatorial Guinea and punish them severely. But obviously, football defies logic, as it sometimes does. They got the goal in the second half. The Equatorial Guinea's performance in the first half was very brave. They defended very, very well. And surprisingly, their defending wasn't that deep, especially in the first half.
Okay.
They had decent opportunities, as you saw there. In the second half, after they scored the goal, they started to sit really, really deep. Algeria created a plethora of opportunities, some of them offside, like in this case, that was clearly offside. And then some other inexplicable finishing from Algeria. There was a Slimani chance. I'm not sure if he was miskicking the ball, I'm not quite sure what exactly was going on with him. I was watching the game with some other friends who said, don't lie to me that there's no juju in football. How is Slimani miskicking the ball from 6 yards out? But he really did. And, they threw in every arsenal that they had, from Riyad Mahrez to Slimani, Brahimi, all of them came in. So look at that attacking prowess, from Buneja to Slimani to Riyad Mahrez,
Baghdad Buneja.
Yes, to Brahimi, Yassin Brahimi. Look at all of these players. From the midfield, they're getting support from Belali, from Benazza. It's talent. Everywhere you look, there was really no excuse for Algeria to lose, but they did. And, it is one that a lot of people are still struggling to really explain. Even the head coach, Jamal Belmadi, after the game, he said, for some reason, the ball just wouldn't go in. And it's... and we talked about this before, that football can be a very strange sport. But credit has to be given where it's due. I thought Equatorial Guinea, there was a certain bravery about their performance. Like I said, they didn't sit too deep up until they scored the goal.
Okay.
They found some openings as well. And for anyone to have the confidence to attack Algeria the way they did, that is impressive. Because you have to remember that Algeria, just before the tournament started, they caught a very strong football nation like Ghana and absolutely pummeled them by 3-0.
Yeah.
So this is not an Algeria team that is struggling. that was struggling before the competition. They had gone on the 35-game winning run. They had no problems with the Algerian team. It's just not coming together for them at this AFCON. And sometimes it's just hard to explain. It's like Italy exiting the World Cup in the group stages in 2010, 4 years after they were world champions. So, we're staring at a similar occurrence in this competition because Algeria's final game is against Cote d'Ivoire, who themselves must avoid defeat.
Yes, if not,
if they want to guarantee qualification, because as it stands now, you look at Equatorial Guinea and Sierra Leone going into that final game. I think many people are talking about Senegal and Algeria, but that match, it's also one cracking football game, because whoever wins that has a really good chance of progressing. So, that group is perfectly poised, and I really can't wait for the last round of matches, because everywhere you look, it looks like there are World Cup finals in the last group. Mega all around
clashes. So, what? I don't know if the numbers reveal a clearer picture, because this is so stunning.
I mean,
that the Algerians walk into this game and after 90 minutes they do not win it. They lose by a goal to nil. They've got 1 point after 2.
Well, when I look at the numbers, I don't think Algeria were as impressive as you'd expect. I mean, you see a team like Equatorial Guinea, like you said, you expect them to create a plethora of chances and batter them. But I look at their stats, and from my point of view, knowing Equatorial Guinea are one of the less fancy teams in the competition, I don't see much difference. So when you look at the stats, for me, the thing that stands out the most is, for example, the XG.
Okay.
Equatorial Guinea got an XG of 0.9, whilst Algeria got an XG of 1.3. So there wasn't much difference when you look at their chances. Then you look at their shots on target. Equatorial Guinea had more than Algeria in the end, 4-3, even though Algeria had more shots. So it looks like Algeria were not using the ball very well, because in terms of possession, they absolutely dominated them, 68.9% to 31.1%. So they had the ball more than 2/3 of their time. So what helped Equatorial Guinea, I guess they were a bit more direct when they got the ball. So you can see they went long 26% of the time. So that's why their pass accuracy was a lot lower than the Algerians, as you can see, 83% to 60%. So they employed a very direct style to try and use the space that the Algerians would leave as they pushed up, and it worked very well for them. So, but as you can see, the Algerians, again, they were a bit wasteful even when they did use the ball, because they entered the penalty box 28 times. But when you're playing against a deep defense, sometimes, even if being in the box, it's the same as being 30 yards out because of the amount of bodies between you and the goal. So Equatorial Guinea entered the box half the time Algeria does, and they manage very similar XG. So it just shows that Equatorial Guinea were very efficient. You might call it lucky, but I don't think there was that much difference for you to say that Equatorial Guinea stole the game. I think looking at this, even if they hadn't scored that goal, they were good value for a draw. So well done to the Equatorial Guineans. Is that how you say it?
Equatorial
Guineans. Well done to them, and I'm hoping Algeria will go out so Benacer can go back to Milan, because I don't. If I have to see Bakayoko in midfield again, I think I might collapse. So.
Interesting. Well, Daniel, I don't know what you made of this encounter. All of a sudden, people are looking at Algeria, and they could potentially exit the competition at this stage. They have to get something against Cote d'Ivoire.
I think they'll go out. I genuinely think they'll go out. I think what would have helped them is if Ivory Coast had won that game against Sierra Leone. That would have meant that the Ivorians would have taken their foot off the pedal a bit for Algeria. But Cote d'Ivoire themselves are not through yet, and they actually risk elimination if they lose against Algeria, because if they lose against Algeria by a certain number of goals, and Algeria goal difference supersedes theirs, and there's a winner in the other game between Equatorial Guinea and Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire drop into third place, and you don't know what will happen. So they themselves will be pushing for a win against Algeria on the last day. And if Algeria go out, I think it will be one of those things where they deserve to go out, because you can't face Sierra Leone. No disrespect to Sierra Leone and Equatorial Guinea, but if you're African champions and you've gone 35 matches unbeaten, and you have the squad you have the manager with the experience you have, and 2 games into a competition against Sierra Leone and Equatorial Guinea, you've still not scored 1 goal, then you have no business.
What do you think has faltered with this Algerian team?
Their finishing has just been off. Remember the first episode we had? Yes. I said that they will face a pressure game where they will go out, because I looked at them on that last FIFA World Cup qualifying game at home against Burkina Faso.
I remember that.
And when I looked at them, they just didn't feel like a championship team for me. They looked like they were afraid to lose a record. And I just felt that this thing will creep into the competition and we'll see them. That's why I said I didn't fancy them as favourites. And I feel going into a similar game against Cote d'Ivoire, a must-win game where there's pressure on them, I just feel they'll bottle it.
But don't you think that now that record is gone, now they can start to say, you know what, that record is gone. Let's forget about it. Let's start building another one.
The record is gone, but the business is still sitting in front of you. If you don't beat Cote d'Ivoire, you are going out. And it's still a high-pressure game, a game where, the last group games are played simultaneously. Yeah. So you'll be hearing news from the other ground about the Sierra Leone and Equatorial Guinea game. And you know that nothing but 3 points will be enough for you. So I just don't fancy them. And if you are, I'm looking at their body language in the first two games. A team that is under pressure and cannot
and that's the table,
calm and composed enough to finish off chances against Sierra Leone. I don't see how they are going to be able to bounce back and then be able to beat Cote d'Ivoire.
All right, we'll see. So the Algerians are bottom. They've got 1 point. Sierra Leone on 2, Equatorial Guinea on 3, Cote d'Ivoire on 4. So it's all down to the last game, and all kinds of permutations are possible. The possibilities really are endless in that group there. Let's stay with that group and let's talk a bit about Cote d'Ivoire's dramatic game with Sierra Leone. Now, the Ivorians were expected to show up, play well, and get all 3 points. But just when they thought it was all done and dusted, the Sierra Leoneans had other ideas, and they scored a dramatic late equalizer to leave all of Freetown in raptures and to leave Abidjan with a few questions on their hands. That was Frank Kessié, Susu Graham's very good friend. Frank Kessié missing a penalty.
Very rarely misses. And it's just a very strange sport, football. This AFCON in particular, who could have known that Mohamed Kamara of East End Lions would be the one to save from Frank Kessie's penalty? Or that Iban Salvador would be outsigning Riyad Mahrez in the game involving Equatorial Guinea and Algeria. And this was just one of those strange games. Cote d'Ivoire were coasting, to be fair. This was a really good save from Sangare to begin with. And then from then on...
But did that not signal a bit of a warning to the Ivorians that these Sierra Leoneans won't take it lying down?
Fabulous finish from Musa. And yes, there were openings, to be honest. For Sierra Leone, they cut Cote d'Ivoire open on many, many occasions. But again, the quality of Cote d'Ivoire came to shine. You look at the way the goal was scored. Look at that. Who's on the end of that? A £79 million player. I mean, that's the quality. A £72 million player. It's the same thing for me. Shining through. So we talk about how the quality is important.
Clearly, this was not a moment of quality, though.
At all. And you have to admit, Cote d'Ivoire's first choice goalkeeper coming into this competition, Sylvain Bohu, was banned by FIFA for alleged doping violations. So that's not their first choice goalkeeper. So when he goes and he makes a mistake like that.
Sangare has had a tough 24 hours. I think he got injured.
Yes.
He's lost his dad as well.
Yes.
So tough.
Which is just bad. And I have to say, most of the people that watched the game and suggested that he was pretending. I don't think he was pretending to be injured. I think he was genuinely injured, probably popped his knee or his shoulder. And that's because the pitch also let him down. He had his own mistakes, obviously. Once he realized that he wasn't going to be able to hold on to it, perhaps the best thing to have done was try and get it out for a corner kick. But he tries to hold on to it for much longer, and then he lost it. And his face, looking at the ball going away from him, it just says everything about it. But when you watch the replay, you can just tell that, he was really injured. I think he was. So here he is. He tries to grab it, and then he's going down to slide. Then the knee locks into the turf, and then he kind of somersaults on his shoulder, and then he goes over, and then the ball comes back. The defenders too don't help him. Obviously, he didn't anticipate the mistake, and then it's a goal. And then after that, everything was free in Freetown.
You were
so many things
so
were
many
free
things
in
were free.
Freetown.
I get that,
I mean,
I get
the
that,
images coming. You see, just before Daniel comes in, I absolutely love all the parties that are going on from all the different countries because of the performances from their teams at the AFCON. Yeah. And that's why I was going on Twitter 2 days ago about people saying that because Essien and Muntari didn't win the AFCON, so therefore when we posted a picture about them trying to appreciate what they did for this country, then people will quickly comment, but they won nothing. That's not it. You see, winning a trophy is good, it's great, but in the absence of a trophy, you're looking at what, you have to measure it on certain metrics. Did you see Ghana in 2006? After we beat the Czech Republic, everything was free. Too many. I have not seen free stuff since then. Maybe the 2010 World Cup. You understand? This is why we love football. And that was made possible because of Suleiman Tari, because of Michael Essien. So when I start to appreciate these people, I'm going to start shouting there that they didn't win anything. So name any midfielders that that have won a trophy for this country.
Okay.
At the Black Stars level. Zero. So the one that has given me joy, the one I like. The party from Malabo, the party from Freetown, the party from Banjul, in these 3 countries. Goodness me, it makes me start to question my nationality. I shouldn't be here right now.
That's snappy thoughts. As we were watching the clip, I could see a look of frustration on your face, and you were banging the table, then looking at Sangari's era. I'm sure you must be very upset watching. Probably, if you were coaching this team, you would be very mad at him for committing such an error.
If you're the coach and you are 15 seconds away from 3 points and that happens, and at the end of the day, people will come back and do tactical analysis as to why you didn't win the game. This is why he didn't win the game. It's the goalkeeper's fault.
Wow.
He should be saving that. Yes, he got injured. It's a bit unfortunate what happened to him on a personal note, but he should be saving that. He really should be saving that. That is 3 points for Côte d'Ivoire. That is less pressure on the last day against Algeria. And it saves a lot of people a lot of trouble. But unfortunately for the Ivory Coast, now they have to go into that last game against Algeria with all seriousness, knowing that if they slip up, they could be out of the competition.
All right, the Ivorians staring down the barrel of the gun. The Algerians are staring closer at that barrel, and it could go off at any time. But we'll see. Send us your thoughts, 0550-585832. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, hopefully I should go through some messages, and then we'll look at the other games that happened over the weekend. We'll also look ahead to the games that will take place today. The final round of group games begins today at the AFCON. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. Let me go through some of your messages. Eddie Virgo from Kaswa says, now his thoughts are not essentially on the game, but on the Black Stars jersey. Now he's saying that he's been noticing everybody's been wearing the retro 90s jerseys and all of that. He thinks the GFA should bring back those jerseys so that the Black Stars will use them. Interesting. This one says, Fent, Milo is rusty. He does not understand modern day football. His style is archaic. Interesting. Samuel Yakubu in Zaria, Nigeria says, the maths for qualification for Ghana is addition and subtraction. For Algeria, it is quadratic equation. Wow. Interesting. This one says, watch the way Equatorial Guinea take their corner kicks. That's Chills from Kofredia. And this one says, it is true that Ghana has underperformed, but all is not lost. Let's rally support for them to beat Comoros on Tuesday. Bright from Pando sent that particular message. More messages are welcome on the number 0550-585832, and that's the number right there on your screen. Hashtag AFCON on Citi, hashtag Citi Sports. Let's move it on. Let's get to Nigeria. They took on Sudan in their second group game. Earlier they had beaten Egypt by a 1-0, and the Nigerians enjoyed their afternoon there. 1-0 it was at this point. It turned out to be a very straightforward game for Nigeria. They showed a lot of experience, class, superiority, and they ended up picking all 3 points.
Yeah, they were class against Egypt, and some of us wanted to see just another performance to show that up. And I think they were absolutely brilliant against Sudan. We've already learned in this competition that you cannot underestimate anybody. Nigeria took the game from the blast of the whistle. I think Chukwueze scored in the 2nd minute. And that's very important. When you are playing less fancy teams, it's always very important to start very well. So assert your authority on the game. Let them know that you are the big team and you are around. Remind them of your class. And that's what Nigeria did. Dominated the game. Their power and the quality also came to play. And look, the overall game plan and the passing and the movement, and look, it was just lovely to watch. And I just want to see how they'll fare when the pressure comes, because yes, opening game against Egypt, although it's a big game, you still have 2 chances to qualify. A game against Sudan is not necessarily the most difficult on paper, but when the knockout rounds come, first of all, I want to see how Nigeria will approach those games, whether they'll be as attacking and as dominant as they are. It just makes it very interesting, because we know this competition and we know football. You talk about teams in the group stages, how good they are, and then all of a sudden they go on to the round of 16 or the knockout rounds, and then they are underwhelming. We've seen it quite a number of times. I hope it doesn't happen to them, but I'm just waiting to see how they'll fare in the knockout rounds.
Friend, your thoughts? Moses Simon and his friends getting off very early, and then they managed to put 3 past the Sudanese, who really were no match for them.
Yeah, Daniel is absolutely right. I think Nigeria have been very comfortable in this competition so far. And they created their own comfort. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they've had easy games, as you can tell probably by now. You know that there's not been an easy game at all.
Except maybe Tunisia 4, Mauritania 0.
Exactly. And so they deserve their success. They've played really good football. They've shown themselves to be clinical. When they create, they score, unlike some people who can't create, can't score. For the Super Eagles, I think they're looking very strong. They are now some people's favorites to win the competition. Moses Simon is already being asked by Nigerian journalists whether he's contending to be named the player of the tournament. He's not even gone past the group stages, but that's where their minds are. The good thing for them, in my opinion, is that they've got a very experienced manager. Gabon may be a divisive figure in Nigerian football, but he is a very experienced manager who has been in this position before and took them into a 3rd place finish at the 2006 World Cup. And AFCON. And like Daniel said that at that time as well, he's been at the Nigerian as technical director for long enough to know these players. So it's not just some unknown entity brought him from somewhere to come and take charge of a team. He's in a familiar environment, and more importantly, all of these players respect him. I think he's a former AFCON winner from '94, I believe.
Yes.
So they respect him, and so I think that they've got the right environment. It'll be interesting to see, of course, a team put them under a certain level of pressure. Because I don't think Egypt have been that good, and that's why I don't think that their game against them is a great test of how strong that they are. We'll see bigger tests for them.
Okay.
But I think that so far they're looking very, very good. I've been very impressed, surprisingly so.
Yeah, the Nigerians looking good. Susu, you had your eye on this encounter as well. What do the numbers tell us after Nigeria beat Sudan 3-1?
I think we have to talk about how well Nigeria limited Sudan in terms of their opportunities. You can look at the fact that Sudan had only 5 shots, 2 shots on target, 2 shots inside the box, and one of them is a penalty. So you can see that it's a very strong defensive performance. They didn't let the Sudanese use the ball properly. Again, only 16 penalty area entries to 37 for them. And the Nigerians, not only that, they were very efficient and they took good shots. I think this is something I like from teams. Because football, at the end of the day, it's a sport, but percentages matter. You have to give yourself the best chance of success. Yeah. Why do I like what Nigeria did? Of their 17 shots, 14 came in the box. It's very simple. The closer you have to go, the better your chance of scoring. So you want to be in the box taking those shots. You don't want to waste the ball with long shots. And taking just 3 long shots out of 17 is smart football. It's the best way to increase your chances of scoring. Their XG 2.3 to 0.9 shows that they limited them. Again, a penalty would jump that XG up about about 0.7, 0.6. So we can say that they limited the Sudanese to 0.3 outside the penalty, which is very good. It was a bit careless to concede the penalty, but there were 3 goals up, so it didn't matter in the end. But that, apart from that, I have to say it was a very good performance for Nigeria. And this is the type of performance you want against a team you are supposedly better than. You limit their chances and you make the best of the ball. You get into the box and you fire off shots at goal and you make things happen. So congratulations to Nigeria. They look to be the most impressive team at the tournament so far between them and Cameroon.
Okay.
And it'll be interesting to see how they get on in the knockout stage.
All right, the Cameroonians, they are on top of their group. The Nigerians have also picked up 2 wins, so both of them have made it to the round of 16. When the group games end, we will share the tree. There's a certain mix or a permutation or several permutations that CAF has put out in terms of who plays who in the round of 16, because of course it's a very new format. It's the second time it's happening. So guys, maybe during the week we'll share that. I saw that in CAF's thing.
We'll do that tomorrow.
I think we can do that tomorrow just to lay things out for everybody to know what exactly could potentially happen. Let's move on to the game that has a lot of Ghanaians quite upset. It was Ghana's game against Gabon, Friday night. The Black Stars had lost to Morocco. They were hoping to bounce back. And they started well. Well, almost started well. The Gabonese almost taking the lead. But then the Black Stars themselves managed to find 1 goal. And then late in the game, they got done. And it was pegged back to 1-1. Andrea, you fantastic strike, guys. That was a bullet of a strike from the Black Stars captain.
Yeah, it really was. We had the debates here last week about whether or not he should start. And in the end, he started. And like Daniel said, if you need someone to score goals, call Andre Ayew. And we called on him and he delivered. 10 goals in the Africa Cup of Nations now, the most by any Ghanaian at the AFCON. And looking at the number of strikers Ghana has produced in the past, and Andre Ayew is our highest goal scorer at the Africa Cup of Nations, it tells you a lot about his consistency, a lot about his quality. And you look at all of the goals that he scored. 6 of them have come from the group stages, and those 6 have been winners. Actually, he scored a winner against Burkina Faso in 2010, his first one. I remember he scored a winner against Tunisia in 2012 as well. Scored a winner against South Africa in 2015. Scored another one against Equatorial Guinea, albeit at that point we were already leading by 2-1. So all the goals that he scored have been very, very important goals. Whether either they are equalizers, they're winning goals. So he's proving himself, Andre Ayew, to be a very reliable figure. Unfortunately, he hasn't proven himself to be reliable over 90 minutes now. He's a player whose legs can't last 90 minutes anymore, and I think that's not his fault. It is the consequence of aging, and that is where managers come in. People show their prowess by knowing the quality of their players and where they are good, where they are strong, and where they are not. Unfortunately, I don't think that the head coach Milovan Rahivac has shown himself to be astute when it comes to making critical decisions that will help his team. And I think in that draw against Gabon, while a lot of players have to take a certain liability for their poor performances, I think generally the performance was just about adequate to get them the win. But they didn't get help from their manager.
Okay.
And I think where Milo fell short, again, in this competition, was making the right calls at the right time. Ghana is leading by 1-0. You've come into the second half and you've retreated and you've sat so deep. And Gabon basically spent most of the time in Ghana's own half. When that happens, inevitably, you're going to concede a goal. Either they're going to score, either you're going to cost a penalty, or you're going to score an own goal. When there's that much pressure. So what do? If I were Milo, I would have easily thrown in more attacking players. Because Ghana had no business sitting as deeply as they sat against Gabon. It really made no sense to me. They couldn't string 2 or 3 consistent passes together. So they just invited the pressure. And for the umpteenth time, Ghana has conceded after the 70th minute, like they did against Ethiopia, like they did against Morocco, like they did against Algeria, even in the friendly match, like they did against Gabon. That's 4 matches now. So that cannot keep happening. It was obvious that so many players were having such bad days. Milo kept them there. Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew didn't offer a lot of help for Andy Yadom in that match against Gabon. Yadom was so exposed. And granted, a lot of people are criticizing his performance because on an individual level, maybe he could have done better. But I don't think he got any sort of support at all. There was a player like Isahaku, energetic, strong, full of confidence, waiting on the bench. He could have come in to help. Milo didn't look at him. Andre Ayew, at some point, this is Ayew. Ayew, like Daniel said, that you bring him in for a certain character to give you goals. Ayew is giving us a goal. It was obvious that Ghana's strategy was not to score again. It was to protect that lead. If that is your strategy, bring in players that can help recede and take that pressure away from the team. Andre basically was a passenger for like the last 20 minutes of the game. And that is why he gets into opportunities where he's supposed to make a right decision, like in that last opportunity with Pencil, when perhaps a quick 1-2 onto Pencil, it would have been true on goal. But instead, he was caught and he had to retreat, tried to get a foul, tried to get a free kick, and then that chance was gone. So there's so many ways you can analyze this match and say that we were let down by coaching, and not for the first time.
Okay.
Since Milo came, I said it, and if we were getting results, I bet that perhaps Daniel would be happy because he's a very big supporter and proponent of the whole idea of results matter. It doesn't matter the performance. Here's the case. The performance has been shambolic. The results haven't been coming either. So something has to give. Something has to change.
Okay.
At the moment, it's not looking good. We may still qualify. We can still qualify. It's not all lost. But if we do, or when we do, so much will need to change. Otherwise, we would just go one more step forward and then we're back home.
All right. Thoughts from a statistical perspective. What exactly was going on in that game? How come the Black Stars lost their way despite taking a lead? Slim one, I must add, but they couldn't hold on.
I have to say something. I know fans won't like this, but I think the Black Stars only drew because of the unsportsmanlike conduct of the Gabonese.
Okay.
And the truth is, when I look at their stats, they did not threaten much. Neither did we. I'll go into our performance later. But you look at their stats, an XG of 0.5. That was their whole match. That's what the Gabonese could muster. 14, and they took 14 shots, mind you. So they took a lot of shots and they were doing nothing with their shots. The Black Stars really looked like conceding. Apart from maybe the first 10 minutes where they looked a bit shaky, if you remember the early attack. But after that, they did not look like conceding the whole game. And then, but like Fen said, our lack of willingness to attack is what cost us in the end. Because why is it that they've taken 14 shots, we took only 6? And to add to that, the only shot on target we got was the goal. We didn't really put pressure on their keeper. We knew their keeper wasn't good. I mean, Daniel highlighted it on Friday show that there's someone who is very shaky. We should test him with long shots. We did it once, and then we just didn't do it much anymore. And we only had one shot inside the box. I think for a team that wants to attack and wants to dominate, it's not good enough. One of the problems that didn't help us was the Gabonese were very physically strong. They were excessive with their force, in my opinion. I think the referee did not help us in that regard. I don't want to sound...
But don't you think that, it's been the nature of this competition where the physicality has been allowed to kind of thrive? Because it's African football. But you think it was a bit extreme.
I was very surprised they finished the game with 11 men, to be honest.
I think, and I don't want to... I think I sound like I'm throwing away, I'm protecting the Black Stars. I'll go into where they've gone wrong after this. But as you can see from... I think the Gabonese are a bit bigger than us. I don't have the exact... But they won 65% of their aerial duels compared to in their game. So they were able to really bully us in the air and in their duels. And I want to just look at this map. So this came from the analysts at Opta. They collect the data. And these are the shots Ghana has taken. The whole tournament, we managed 0.6 XG from 11 shots. And look at where we are taking our shots. We are barely getting to the box. I think this is a very serious concern.
This is the 2 matches.
This is the 2 matches. This is a very serious concern because I think 11 shots in 2 matches is nowhere near good enough. Okay. I'm not saying shoot for the sake of shooting, but the fact that only 3 have come in the box and 1 like on the edge of the box, that's a very serious problem to me. Because if we are not getting, that's why I even highlighted Nigeria taking 14 shots in the box in 1 match. And the whole tournament, we've taken 11 shots total, 3 in the box. I'm not saying we have to be as good as Nigeria. We played against Morocco.
We have to be.
Like I'm with Daniel in a sense that performances are not as important. We saw how Portugal won the Euros. They won 1 game in regular time. We can do something similar, but ideally, you want to see your national team perform well. My issue is that if you're not even getting the box, the likelihood of us scoring is so low. There's not even a chance that we're going to steal games and go to penalties. And we also know the Black Stars penalty record is not great. Yeah. So we can't say that we're going to go to games, try and grind out a 0-0 and win on penalties. That's not in this country's nature. So we need to make a serious improvement in how we use the ball, how we get into attacking situations. That's my submission. Like I said, we probably will qualify. Even though Comoros are a good team, I think maybe they might have given up hope. I think they played very well against Gabon. I think they were poor against Morocco. They made it easy for Morocco. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, this concerns me. Maybe if we turn it up against Comoros and we start to show a bit more attacking promise, I will be a bit more optimistic. But right now, I'm not feeling too good. Because like I said after Morocco, I'm not worried. It's 1 match. Now we've joined the second game. I am worried. So that's my submission.
Alarm bells ringing for Susu Graham there. Daniel, I don't know what you made of the performance. Friday night, you were quite animated watching the encounter. I'm sure you've had a few days to chew on it and probably point out the reasons why the Black Stars could not get 3 points against Gabon in the AFCON.
Sergio Ramos.
No, that's it. It was Sergio Ramos.
You don't get it, do you?
No, I don't get the joke. I missed that.
He's coming to defend their performance.
Okay. The chief defender.
Look, the performance wasn't the best. We have to be honest. It wasn't the best. But like Susu said, it was good enough to win the game. And I just think it was, first of all, tactical indiscipline. And then, of course, if you want to push it a bit more, you can say the Gabonese should have been more sportsmanlike in what happened.
What about the coaching? Or that's part of the tactical indiscipline?
Not necessarily. I'm saying tactical indiscipline because I will show you Gabon's goal could have been prevented.
Okay.
If the Black Stars players were locked in. But I want to start from the positives first of all. Let's start with the Ghana goal. And Thomas Partey's role in the Ghana goal. Now, in all the pre-match analysis we've done with Black Stars matches, I have maintained the fact that I always want Partey in that deep role, to create from deep. And it looks like that is what Milo wants him to do. Now, if he can take and see pitch and he has runners, he will always find you. He has that quality, he has the eye for the pass. You don't want him in that number 10 slot, very tight in the half spaces, having to think. I don't think he has that skill and his vision suits that sort of role. So I feel he's better off in the deep role. And you see it in the Black Stars goal. It was a simple one. Wolacott and played it to Amate. Amate gives it to Partey. Partey lifts his head. And this is what I like about the goal. Not just Partey, it's a combination of 2 things. Partey and Daniel Tress run.
Daniel Tress run, yes.
That's the intelligence that you expect your Jordan Ayew to be making. But Jordan is literally just a passenger. He loves the ball to be played to his feet. And that's an aspect of his game that I don't necessarily like, especially when you want your attacking players to be moving around and creating space. Jordan doesn't give you that. But if you look at Daniel Trey, who's right here, he literally drags the defender away from Andre Ayew, takes this guy away from Andre Ayew, and before he realizes, as the Gabonese captain, the ball is moving to Andre Ayew and he quickly needs to adjust. But just stop it here. This is also the brilliance of Andre Ayew. After this, it's just individual brilliance. The first touch, the turn, and then the willingness to take the shots is something that it's class. Only somebody with this sort of class can.
It wasn't a chance at all.
It wasn't a chance, and he explains even in Susu's XG ratings. It doesn't really count as a chance. So it was more of a fantastic individual effort from Andre Ayew. When I say the Gabonese goal could have been prevented, this is what I'm talking about. The double team on the right-hand side against Yadom.
Yeah.
It was a left back,
Johan Obiang.
Obiang, and Alevinia, when Alevinia came on, double teaming on Yadom. Now, in the pre-match analysis, I spoke about the fact that Gabon almost always use the outlets out wide to get their goals. Even when there are options through the middle, they tend to go out wide. I actually mentioned Alevinia's name as having quality on the ball. His technique is something that the Black Stars need to watch out for. And that's why in the pre-match analysis, I also put Jordan as right midfield. And I sort of understood why Joseph Pencil was not in the starting lineup, because of Jordan's defensive superiority when it comes to that aspect of his game. But Jordan didn't do that. And he didn't do, in fact, I won't say he didn't do that because there were some aspects where he did, but he didn't do that enough. And this is where I'll criticize him, because I can bet, I'm not one who likes saying these things, but if I'm being serious, I can bet you that Jordan would have done this if it was Crystal Palace. We see him, I'm serious, we see him killing himself for 95 minutes for Crystal Palace. Some of the best pressing numbers in Europe, if not the best. But he seemed very slack in his defensive responsibilities in this game. You look at this. This is Jordan Ayew. This is the guy with the ball, Alevinia. Alevinia has an overlapping runner. Jordan Ayew can see that Andy Adam is in trouble. But if you watch his body language, he doesn't really make any proper attempts to try and recover. And Andy Adam is overlapped. This could easily have ended up in a goal. It took, I think, was a goal-saving header from, was it?
Yeah.
Amati,
he stopped running. Jordan's...
He just stopped.
Yeah.
He literally just stopped.
And the player that took the shot, he could have prevented that shot.
That shot. In fact, he could have prevented the outlet to Obiang from getting that crossing. So this is just one out of 1,000 moments where Jordan Ayew just failed to do his defensive responsibility. And if you look at the goal that Gabon scored, I say it could have been prevented from multiple angles. First one is the fact that the Black Stars players were literally waiting for Gabon to return the ball. It's 85 minutes or so.
They are 1-0 down.
They are 1-0 down. Once the ball passes the initial guy who had the ball and he gives it to another player, you should know that they are not going to give you the ball. Second of all, in fact, this should be my first point. It is not a rule. So you play, just keep playing. If they don't give it to you, you've covered it. If they give it to you, fine. But you don't stop. Look at Partey pointing. Look at Edmondado pointing. And these are especially Edmondado. He's supposed to be in this zone. But he's walking. He's literally walking and pointing at the referee, asking the referee to do what? To order Gabon to give the ball back to Ghana. Again, it's not a rule. And this is down to football education. It is not a rule. It is a courtesy. So if they decide not to do it, yes, you can talk all you want. But it's not going to go against them in terms of punishment. It is not. So you, Edmond Ado, it is your job to make an attempt. In fact, you are supposed to be in your starting zone in the first place, not out of your zone pointing at the referee. Second of all, this is something I highlighted before the game. The outlet, out wide. Once they have you isolated, they are more or less going to punish you. And for the Black Stars, at this point in the game, to have somebody who is not necessarily the best one-on-one defender, Andy Adam, having to take on Alevinia, who is actually very good, and not just with his left foot, with both feet also.
Plus he was a sub. He was fresher.
He was fresh. And they were literally just waiting for this opportunity. That's why I say it's tactical indiscipline, first of all, from Edmondado, from Jordan Ayew, because he should have closed down this runner much quicker. Daniel Trey should be behind the ball. If you are defending a goal at this time, these guys should be behind the ball. You cannot be, or you should be in front of the ball. You cannot be behind the ball at this particular point in time. And if you play it on, this is where I say I will not blame Andy Adam, because everybody before the game knew that if you isolate him one-on-one, that is a weakness. So you don't expose that weakness, finish and come and blame him for that. You put in place a tactical plan that can hide that weakness. And that tactical plan involved Jordan Ayew helping him out.
Okay.
Involved the likes of Edmondado and co. being in the right position to prevent this from happening, especially if this happened in the first minute of the game. I may understand because it's taking them a bit more time to settle. But when it's 5 minutes in the end of the game and you have a lead to protect and you are fresh off the bench in Edmonado, you are a Jordan Ayew who's been given a task to help out your fullback defensively, and you are in a position like this. First of all, what's he even doing here? That's my point. What is Jordan Ayew standing here for? And if you are standing here, you should have been making a better effort to close down the passer. I don't blame Andy Adam for what happened. I think he did his best, threw his body on the line. Unfortunately for him, the ball ended up in the back of the net. But these are things, I always say that these are things that Milo and his guys will go back and look at. These are things that they need to learn, especially that concentration in the last 10 minutes. You cannot keep conceding goals in the last 10 minutes if you want to win championships. And the Black Stars definitely need to set up in the next games.
All right, the Black Stars will have to do far better. They play Comoros Tuesday at 7. And let me go to some of your messages and then we'll wrap it up quickly. This one says, I want to know when Nigeria will play their next game. Friday from Nigeria is asking that. Nigeria, I think they play...
I think on Wednesday.
On Wednesday? Wednesday or Thursday? I think, yeah.
They always play Wednesday. After us, so Wednesday.
All right. Nehemiah Amos from Sierra Leone says, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. God bless Musa Kamara and Alaji Kamara. Interesting.
Please. Let's stay with, what's his name?
Who?
The one who sent the message.
Friday from Nigeria.
No. Sierra Leone.
Nehemiah Amos.
Amos. I want to see how the free things that were on offer from yesterday. You know, that is what I am interested in.
I'm sure Amos will tell us more. This one is Yao Bex from Asin Fosu. Says the Black Stars think they are going to beat Comoros, but it's a lie. They should wake up and do what is expected. We are not happy with them at all. All right. This one says, it's obvious the defensive tactics deployed by the Black Stars coach are rusty and impotent. He must vary them now or he'll have himself to blame. Interesting. Nathaniel from Kofredia says, Coach Milo was afraid to make substitutions when things weren't going well. All right. Rafael Abimbola from Tema says, Nigeria is winning the cup, period. And then Haruna Tijani, watching us from Mamprugu, Maduri district, says, I think the Black Stars need motivation. Let's give them the encouragement so they can bring the cup home. Well, strong believer in the Black Stars there. Let's have a look at the fixtures for today. There you have it. Both games kick off at 4 p.m. It's Burkina Faso and Ethiopia, and Cape Verde and Cameroon. Cameroon have already qualified. I'm sure they will make changes here and there. Cape Verde and Burkina Faso are both chasing a qualifying spot, or a spot in the round of 16. Guys, this should be interesting. I wonder which Cameroonian side we'll see today. Do you think we'll see a changed side?
I think so. And I think they have enough quality to ring the changes. If you see the sort of substitutions they've made in their first two games, the likes of Clinton Njie coming from the bench. In the first game, Choupo-Moting was coming off the bench. It just shows you Basugog is sitting on the bench. They have quality. And I feel, even if with a changed side, it's a team that can easily go out and beat any team in Africa. They have that much quality, especially up front, to be able to ring the changes. But for somebody like Vincent Abubakar, I don't think you want to sit this one out. When you've scored 4 goals in 2 games and you can smell the goal king in a competition that is being hosted at home, you want to play as much minutes as you can, or as many minutes as you can, to get your goal. So it's just down on the coach. And Cameroon themselves have not sealed top spot yet. Yes. They need at least a draw in this game too. So I don't think, in as much as I know they will ring some changes, I think the attitude will still be 100% just to make sure they get over the line.
Fen, you've got Ethiopia taking on Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso are back in the mix after losing. They won their second game. They'll hope to win so they can have a good chance of making the round of 16.
Yeah, a victory will give them 6 points. That would be one of the highest points for a second place team, I believe. 2 wins for a second, because that's on the assumption that, of course, Cameroon would win. But I think, I agree 100%. Burkina Faso, I think they have enough to be able to beat Ethiopia, largely because the Ethiopians don't really care about winning. You know, they have shown that they have some qualities, like in the first half against Cameroon, but they don't seem to be like a team that is capable of seeing off 90 minutes of really good football where they're able to score and protect the lead at all. I think Burkina Faso has this under wraps. if Burkina Faso don't beat Ethiopia, they themselves, I'm sure the fans back home wouldn't be happy. Because coming into the competition, they were seen as some sort of like dark horses. But their start to the competition hasn't been that great. They put themselves in a very good position against Cameroon in the opening match. And then they completely gave it out under no pressure, under no provocation whatsoever. And those tendencies are not good for a team that is hoping to get as far as possible. Burkina Faso haven't been anywhere near the semi-final since 2013 when they lost the final to Nigeria. So, this should be they should get the win.
Okay.
And I think that in the knockout stages, nobody wants to play them because
it will be difficult to beat.
Exactly.
All right.
I received Banse in Gabon
I think
for
team
to give
manager or
them
something like that.
inspiration. So.
Okay. All right, that's our show for today. Many thanks for watching. It's been fun. Now, Friday from Nigeria. Nigeria will play on Wednesday. So that's what we've discovered. They play on Wednesday. But that's our show for today. Many thanks for watching. You heard Susu Graham, Daniel Kranting, and Fenty Tahiru. My name is Nathan Kwao. We are back here tomorrow looking over the games that will happen today, looking ahead to the Black Stars games and other games that will take place on Tuesday. Do have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And please keep watching Citi TV.